Hey, welcome back to Jazz Time. JazzTime.com is an online store that buys, sells, and trades authentic luxury watches. We make these videos so you can easily choose the best watch for yourself in the comfort of your own home. We offer the lowest prices anywhere online, and if you'd like to know the price, simply click on the links in the description below. We greatly appreciate it if you purchase your next watch from us at JazzTime.com. Today we'll be talking about quite an interesting watch. The most interesting feature is that I have not actually started this video with the date at the 2nd of the month. Well, actually, that's a lie. Everything about this is interesting because this is a Tag Heuer Monaco with the Gulf racing stripe livery dial. All right, so before I go any further, let's just say that this is basically a Tag Monaco and Gulf sort of collaboration watch from Tag Heuer, of course. This one, 39mm square, fully boxed. This one, the reference number CAW211R.FC6401. I'll be going over the case, the dial, what there is of a bezel, the crown functions, as well as the movement and the strap here, this leather strap. And I'll be giving my thoughts on all of these features throughout this video. Now, starting off with the case, we have a 39mm square case from left to right, top to bottom, square case, minus the lugs, of course. That adds, about 5 to 6 millimeters in the stance, the height, the lug-to-lug distance. All right, but it basically wears a bit bigger than that, but I'll show you that a little bit later. The case here is fully stainless steel in its construction with a high polish made to sort of make it seem like it's a bit thinner than it really is, as it sort of bows inward. If you look at the high polish, the way that it sort of creates that illusion of it being a little bit thinner. But if you look at it and just sort of ignore the finishing, it is a fully rectangular piece, at least on the side. If you look at the chronograph pushers, we have those on the right side, but the crown is on the left side, and this gave me quite a few issues. Well, not really, but it just sort of shook up my world for about half a second, and then I came back to my senses. So, satin brush finishing from top to bottom in just about every aspect. So from a 12 to 6 satin brush finishing like so. Same with the bezel, sort of. It's a vertical brush finishing, and same with the chronograph pusher side at the 3 o'clock. But the lugs, if you were to see them on your wrist, the finishing is actually, sort of top to bottom in that aspect as well, but sort of perpendicular to that of the flow of the case. But that's all right. No one's going to really notice that. People are more going to notice, it's a square case. And same with the crystal, sapphire crystal, sort of evocative of the original plexiglass version of this model. And this model has made its iterations throughout history. So many different forms of this watch have come to pass. The original versions weren't actually fully square. They were sort of rectangular, just off by a millimeter, in each direction. But I digress. Anyway, the movement has also made a few updates to basically reflect the modern high beat rates required in more modern watches, as you can see. But more on that in a moment. Taking a look at the style, we have actually, if you'll note, there is no tag. You will not see the word tag anywhere on this watch. You'll only see Heuer, and that's true even of this buckle, even of the movement as well. As you can see on the winding mass, there's just the Heuer logo. Literally nowhere is there tag, because this is sort of a throwback to the tradition of the old Heuer watchmaker before the sort of joining of the Tag and the Heuer together in the 80s. This model came from the 60s, where Steve McQueen himself had worn basically one of the first models, essentially, during his role in the movie Le Mans in the 60s, 1960s. If you're watching this 100 years in the future, I'm talking about 1960s, not the 2060s, all right? And certainly when it comes to the color scheme, the overall presentation of the elements here on this dial especially, you definitely get that sense of the 60s, especially with the Gulf fuel and racing livery sort of motif here with the racing stripes across the right side of the dial. Now, taking a look at this dial, we have index counters, sort of, in multiple forms. So we have dots along the track for the minutes and seconds with sort of slight red protrusions almost jarringly against this blue brushed sapphire dial, only slightly interrupted by these Gulf racing stripes, which I actually do quite like. Keep in mind though that this is a special edition watch and limited only by the fact that they made this only for the US and in 2017. So however many models that they made in 2017, that's it. That's all that there exist and circulate in the world. We have one of them here at Jazz Time. All right, now these minute and hour hands also maintain that same sort of sense of these index hour markers, just white with the red protrusion from them heading inward, these sort of pointing outward. The white being the luminescence, of course, and the red being the sort of tips to show you, to really create that high contrast. All right, now taking a look at how this all works, because I'm used to having the crown, and I'm sure you are used to having the crown at the 3 o'clock side, but this one, crown at the 9 o'clock side, and Tag Heuer have done quite a lot to really break tradition. Well, first, even with the first square case with the square crystal on the front, putting the crown on the left side, and also the fact that the original model was actually the very first watch with a chronograph with water resistance to be strong enough to be considered waterproof. So, chronograph with waterproofness, square watch, breaking all sorts of conventions and traditions, and just making quite an interesting case for themselves, all right? No pun intended, obviously. Now, at the base position, this is how you wind the watch. You rotate the crown clockwise to wind the watch. About 20 to 30 full winds is all you need to get to the full power reserve. Rather simple there. You can pull it out to the next position, and you can then advance the date, I believe by turning it actually counterclockwise. There we go. It's about a quarter turn to advance the date, so rather easy there. Although doing so with your left hand when you're right-handed is probably not the easiest thing ever, but I think maybe that's why they made the squared edges, so that you can have that firm grip on the watch so you don't drop it. But I'm just complaining because I'm not left-handed. Well, actually, handedness is sort of it's partially a psychological phenomenon and partially involuntary, but I digress. Anyway, if you find yourself on the 30th of a month and you have the 1st of the month coming up tomorrow, just move it over to the 31st, wait for the hour hand to sweep back around, and you'll land on the 1st of the next month. No problem there. Pull the crown out to the final position, and note that the small seconds at the 3 o'clock position has actually stopped. You have that hacking seconds function, all right? And you can then adjust the minute hand accordingly, place it wherever it needs to go, obviously move it forward to do so, press the crown back in to ensure the waterproofness down to 100 meters or 330 feet below sea level. The chronograph pushers at the sort of 2 and 4 o'clock positions, if you will, work as you would expect. Simply press the top button to start the chronograph, press it again to stop it, press the bottom button to reset it, as well as the chronograph dial, the 30-minute chronograph dial at the 9 o'clock position. All right, and keep in mind that this is a movement that was developed in the 1960s. A few minor adjustments to modernize it for the current market, but it has run splendidly. And when I mention the name, you'll actually think I've heard this somewhere before. If you've watched my videos on the Audemars Piguet, the Royal Oak offshore chronograph models, the base model for this was made by Dupuis. So they basically created this chronograph module on the inside here in conjunction with Breitling, Tag Heuer, and a couple other brands to develop the very first waterproof chronograph module for a wristwatch in the 60s. And for good reason, Audemars Piguet actually do rely on the Dupuis movement for that chronograph functionality, because they've been doing it for far longer, and they've had the history, they have the experience, they know what they're doing. And that's a very good thing from Audemars Piguet, but that's neither here nor there. We're talking about this Tag Heuer Monaco Gulf edition. All right, and so you have that sort of legacy within this watch. You have the history of this watch being worn on Steve McQueen's wrist during the Le Mans movie, evocative of, you know, say the racetrack in Europe. All right, you also have the Gulf racing stripes as the special edition marker for this watch. Now, this caliber, the caliber 11, originally developed in the 60s again. This one's the first automatic chronograph waterproof movement. As you can see, it has a bidirectional winding mass on the inside. It beats at a frequency, this one at 28,800 vibrations per hour. The original around 19,000 vibrations per hour. So it only had like about 2 hertz. This one beats at 4 hertz frequency. You have the accuracy within a fourth or within an eighth of a second technically. This one has up to 42 hours of power reserve based on how you wear it, of course. But you know, if you just wear this on your wrist, the natural movements of your wrist will keep it wound up to that maximum power reserve. The functions allow for the center mounted hours, minutes, and seconds. Well, the seconds at the small seconds at the 3 o'clock, the seconds sort of being the chronograph hand, center mounted, along with the date wheel at the 6 o'clock and the 30-minute chronograph feature at the 9 o'clock. All right, so taking a look at this strap here, we have this brown, or why did I say brown? This is a blue leather strap with a sort of like rubbery orange inlay on the inside to really wick away the sweat. And even then, on this strap, no mention of tag, only Heuer. All right. Now taking a look at this buckle here, it is stainless steel. This one still has stickers on it. It's a double button deployment clasp, just a single fold over. And the way that this strap actually works, there are no actual loops. So you can simply just feed it into the clasp here, fold it in on itself, and it becomes a minorless loop system. So this strap will actually feed into and underneath the outer strap at the 12 o'clock position, as you can see. All right, so while we're here, I'll try it on and give you my thoughts as to how it wears on the wrist. Now, I did say that this is a 39mm case, and it wears, well, horizontally, certainly 39mm, vertically, certainly 39mm, but when it comes to that diagonal, that's absolutely massive. 39 multiplied by the square root of 2, well, that gives you quite a big number over. It wears kind of like a 43, 44 sort of watch because of that diagonal distance, these corners sort of protruding out, but, you know, that's neither here nor there. Taking a look at the profile of this, the side profile on the wrist, the crown rests very nicely against the wrist here. My wrist is about 7 inches in circumference, 18 centimeters in other terms in metric, and anybody I think can technically wear this because the way that the strap connects to the lugs allows for, you know, much smaller wrists to potentially wear this. And also looking at the overall form factor here, it is a bit thick on the wrist, probably not going to slide under a suit cuff that easily. It's definitely over 12 millimeters in thickness, but it will certainly fit under a jacket sleeve, all right, as you probably would when you're racing. Don't race on the streets though. All right, now when it comes to the weight and the weight distribution of this watch, it's pretty light for actually how thick it appears to be, and the counterbalance of this clasp versus the case, not all that much, but you know, again, it's not that heavy. So if you were to wear this, you know, more form-fitting to your wrist, it will certainly, you know, not be too noticeable, but it'll be there just enough to remind you that you are indeed wearing a piece of history. All right, so enough of what I think. What do you guys think about this watch? Do you think you like this Gulf edition, special edition, US only and 2017 production limited version? Or would you rather have the classic edition, the one that was more closely related to that of Steve McQueen's version from the movie Le Mans? Let us know down in the comments below. Be sure to like the video as it helps us out. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already and hit the bell notification so you can be notified when we go live with another video like this one. And as always, if you'd like to purchase this watch, the special edition, Monaco and Gulf from Tag Heuer, or if you'd like to purchase it used or even the original version, we can do so. We can get one for you at jazztime.com. Links in the description below. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.
If you want to find out more about the watch you just saw in the video, you can just click below on Show More to see the full description. Then you can check the link next to model as seen in video, click on it and you will get to the proper page where you can see all the details. If you're watching on a mobile phone, you have to click on the arrow down on the right hand side below the video to see the full description. If you like this video, please give us a thumbs up. If you would like to share this video with your friends, you can use the share button below and share it on any platform you like. If you have questions, constructive feedback, want to tell us about some mistakes or misspeaks, just write a comment below. If you want to see more videos like this, you should subscribe to our channel and visit our channel page where you can find all the videos. And if you're interested in a specific watch brand, you can check out our playlists. If you want to check the price for a watch or want to buy one, remember at jazztime.com you always get a steep discount, so you should check the prices with us. If you want to know the price for a specific watch, just go to Google, type in JazzTime, plus the brand, model and the details you're interested in, and Google will find the right page for you. Thank you for watching.